All right, welcome into the show. I'm your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at CFB07. Got my co-host Austin, man. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man?
How's the week been going?
Week has been week's been busy. Before I get it started talking about the week, I did promise my daughter I'd give her a little shout out to her and her friends. So Savannah, I hope you and Brooks are doing well.
That's
But
awesome.
no, week's been good, man. Super Bowl week, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Let's before we jump into it, go ahead and make your prediction. Who you going? Not who you rooting for. Who you think's gonna win?
Yeah, unfortunately, man. I won't even say unfortunately. I've told you, I'm pulling for the Eagles because I want to see Jalen get one, but I'm also not pulling against Kansas City. But if I was a betting man and I had to put some money on it, I'm calling a three-peat.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just think at this point, I don't know. It's just bad business to bet against Patrick Mahomes. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Chiefs too. All right, let's jump into the first segment: news and notes from the week. So we do a show on Thursday, so it's at the top of every show we're gonna always do the news and notes. By the time we get to Thursday, man, a lot of stuff has happened in the college football world. So let's jump right into it. Ryan Grubb back at Alabama as OC. He was actually at Bama. I don't think people realize that he was there for like 5 minutes and then dipped and went to the Seattle Seahawks. I'll give my opinion on the back end because Austin is our resident Bama fan. So, Austin, how you feeling about it?
I mean, honestly, man, I feel good. The more I think about this, you look at, DeBoer coming into Alabama was, we talked about this where we thought Jalen Milroe's ceiling was last year, and where I thought the board would get him, they got nowhere close.
Mm-hmm.
So, just as much as him and Grubb have worked together over the last several years and the offenses they've produced, you know, makes me wonder how much. I'm not saying not taking anything away from DeBoer. I don't mean that at all. But curious to see how much of that was Ryan Grubb. I think about Saban and back when he had Kirby Smart as a DC. Everybody said, "Oh, Saban's got the best defense in the country," and he did. But that defense was never the same when Kirby left.
I'm trying not to
So
smile when you said that.
I
Uh,
know, I know. Hey, just because your
but
team's built by Bama, that's all right. You can smile. Um, so
yeah,
no,
I'm glad
I'm
you said
excited.
that. I'm glad you said that about the comparison though, because it's a good transition to what I was actually going to say. I found it interesting. I don't know if you've seen the comments today. I wasn't planning on bringing this up the show, but this is a good transition. About I don't remember who the player was, but there's an article out. Current Bama player said they are way more focused now. There was going to be this is the part that got me. There was going to be no more being late to team meetings, and it kind of made my ears perked up because of what I heard, or not heard, but read about Grubb and the DeBoer relationship. So from what I've gathered, and it makes so much sense. I think we know DeBoer. He's kind of like the laid back.
Hmm.
He's chill. He don't put his he don't scream. He's not a yeller unless it's a ref during the Georgia game. Um, he doesn't, he doesn't
Yeah,
yell. He doesn't scream. He doesn't act crazy. He's kind of just like the chill, almost Mark Rick type.
yeah,
Very, very calm. And I had read and I'd heard on a podcast earlier that Grubb was like the bad cop to his good cop. And that makes so much sense because they have worked together, I think, their whole career.
yeah,
And he's so from everything I understood, like DeBoer's the good cop, like pat you on the back, it's all right, buddy. And Grubb is the get in your face, he's gonna yell at you, he's gonna chew your ass out. And I mean, I think that that's kind of a good combination.
yeah.
Um,
If it
I mean,
works, it works.
yeah,
That's
I
if
do
you
think
do it
it is
right.
concerning, like you said, I do think it is concerning a little bit. I don't know if 1 year's enough data, but it's all we have to go off of. It is a little concerning that if things does go really well, it's like, Okay, do them two have to be together? And I don't know what Grubb's ambitions are. He may be like Jim Knowles and like want to be a career OC or something.
Hey, if it works, we'll pay him in Tuscaloosa, so
Yeah.
he can make a good living.
Yeah. So
Um,
I'm with you though. I love the hire. I think if Austin and me talk on the phone every day, twice a day, and me and Season, we text at numerous times during the day, and I think both of you know I'm a huge Ryan Grubb fan. I'm a huge fan of the offense and all that. So I love the hire. I think it's phenomenal for Alabama. But yeah, so another OC hire field. Ohio State quickly promoted Brian Hartline, wide receiver coach, to offensive coordinator. Something that I think isn't getting mentioned enough, maybe because people forget this is actually not his first stint as OC at Ohio State. He actually got the
right.
job promoted that first time, and from what I understood, he called a couple of games, and then Ryan Day took the play calling back. I'm curious to know though, is he actually going to call plays, or is Ryan Day taking back the play caller?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and just curious to where their mindset was around that. I mean, you just came off of winning a national championship, and I don't know, everything seems to be going in the right way. It seemed like they were set to make a big hire, but I don't know. It almost feels like they settled to me. I don't want to. I may be eating crow next season, but I feel like we've seen this before, and you know what I mean. We know what it got us. So
Yeah, speaking as somebody who has ate a lot of crow this past season. Uh, it tastes pretty good sometimes, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think
yeah,
Ryan Day's going to be calling plays again. I don't think it's going to be Heartline. Others disagree with me, but we'll see. But I think Ohio State fans don't care. They just won the national championship. So you could have hired me, and they would have been excited.
do you think Ohio State? Do you think that winning one national championship will just kind of keep the heat off of Ryan Day for a couple of years, anyhow?
No, that's a good point. No, because this is a fan base that, I mean, a radio personality guy had to like issue an apology because he made I don't even know if it was a joke. I think he was being serious. I think you know probably by now, Ryan Day's dad had committed suicide, and like homeboy just like went on the radio and like made a suicide joke that Ryan Day should do
Mm,
like his father. Yeah, it was horrible, horrible. And I had read the article they had done about like security having to be at his house, and it got bad. So yeah, I don't know, maybe not. That fan base seemed a little they're
yeah,
out there. They're out there. I thought Ohio State though has always been a program that I had been, heard on other shows that if there's a team from the Big Ten that is the closest to the SEC from like the top down, fan
yeah,
base, facilities, it was Ohio State. Like they could be
makes
put in
sense.
the SEC and match the intensity of our fans in the SEC about how crazy they are. And I mean, hey, if your coach has to hire security, yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. So
Yeah,
I don't know. All right, another news. Last one before we get into the buy or sell. Interesting article this weekend, this week, about the possibility of coming up with a rule on the faking injuries. I think it's no secret here if you watch this show. Season hates it. I hate it. I know Austin hates it. I can't stand the fake injuries. I cannot stand it. But so apparently the NCAA Rules Committee is going to meet later this week, and at the very top of the docket is fake injuries. Here's the one idea that's kind of been floated around as a possibility: a player is removed from a game, must sit out the whole drive. Team can use. I thought this part was interesting. A team can use a timeout to buy the player back into the game.
wow.
So it's kind of like well, let me keep on and then we'll talk about it. Hold on. I about got ahead of myself. As long as they have at least sat one play. So you can buy back the player, but he has to sit at least one play. but you got to waste your time out if you don't want him to go the whole drive.
Mm-hmm.
Rule would not apply to the players injured by a hit that results in a penalty. My initial reaction is I love it. Like,
I like it. Yeah, I mean, if you're hurt enough to where you can't get up, you need to be out of drive.
Yeah, and then that's gonna and then if you want him back in bad enough, you waste that time out, buddy.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point of the fake injury is not using the timeout. So, I'm a fan of it. I don't know what Lane Kiffin's got to change his whole offense or whole defensive scheme now. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they'll figure it out.
Well, before we move on, I in the article I didn't write it down, so I'm going to paraphrase. But there is, of course, as coaches do, they complain. There has been some complaints about this rule about, well, what if it's my quarterback? And I'm like, well, first off, I haven't seen a quarterback fake an injury, and so it's usually your reserve players that you don't care about,
right?
But the other thing that they may try to implement, and I hate this idea, is the green dot players, the ones that have the green dots that has the communication.
Yeah.
Like something about them maybe being exempt, but then I was like, well, you could get away with that. Like that wouldn't work on the offense because the quarterback, you're not going to have the quarterback fake an injury. But I mean, you could have your linebacker or safety.
Yeah.
Take an injury. I don't like that. The rule that we just said, I love it. It needs to be implemented tomorrow.
Right. No, I agree. I would love to see that go into place. And honestly, I should be against the fast-paced offense because that's what used to kill Bama back in the day. But
yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, I'm for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, luckily I haven't. I'm sure it's happened. Trust me, I'm not. Kirby ain't no damn saint. I haven't noticed Georgia doing it a lot. They don't. I do know they don't do it not like no damn Ole Miss or Tennessee, but maybe they have done it once or twice. But even if Georgia did it, I would get super damn annoyed. Yeah. I would just think that's Bush League. But anyway, all right. So that was news and notes. There was probably more stuff that went on this week, but we'd have a whole show if we talk about everything. We'll push it to next week. So that was news and notes. Let's get into buy or sell. I love this idea that we had come up with. I think it's a cool concept. What's cool about this show tonight, though, is Austin's going to totally react blindly. He did not prep. He did not do any buy or sell teams. He's just going to react to my list. He has not heard a single team that is going to be talked about. I'm sure he's going to have some disagreements. So let's start with the first one because I felt like the first one would be fitting. I am buying a stock that I feel is getting sold at a high rate right now by a lot of people. A stock that I think is going to pay me handsomely when it takes off. And that is your Alabama Crimson Tide. And
I had a funny feeling I knew they were going to be in there, but I had a funny feeling you were going to start there with them.
I teed it up this afternoon when we were on the phone.
Yeah, I know.
Look, I believe in DeBoer. I believe in his track record. Yes, I am concerned about some comments a player made earlier today. That is concerning. Not everything's perfect. I'm a little concerned with the D-line recruiting in the recruiting class. I'm not going to lie. I am concerned that it seems like off of 1 year that he has to have his boy Grubb in the picture for it to go good. But number 3 class, 81% blue chips. Blue chips is 4 and 5 stars. That's 81% of your class is 4 or 5 stars. Yeah. I would be selling the stock if we went 9-4 and you had the 15th ranked recruiting class. I would be sounding the alarms. Yeah. It'd be like Dan Mullen at Florida. But I am buying it, and I think that it's going to pay off handsomely, especially with Grubb back in the picture.
Yeah. So I'll give my 2 cents and not to cut you off there, but I'm gonna. So obviously I'm buying, but where I'm going to disagree with you is the you say you're a little concerned that he had to go get Grubb to make it better. To
Yeah.
me, I look at that as a positive
Yeah.
because it took him one season. The offense didn't perform how it should have, and we made a
Mhm.
change. That's what I like. Like if you are looking at something and you see it's not going to get better, do something about it. What's the old saying? The definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing you've always done and expecting things to be different, right?
Yeah.
Um, I like the fact that I'm stoked with the recruiting class. Like you said, I was concerned that he wouldn't be able to come in and recruit. And not trying to be all high and mighty SEC, but let's
Mhm.
be honest, the recruiting down here is just different. I mean, it's more competitive in this corner of the country than anywhere. So to come out first year of the top five class or top three class, and
Yeah.
like I said, I I like I like the fact that it didn't go how he wanted to year one, and he already went and made changes.
I love that you said that. I don't want to derail the show too much, but me and Season was actually talking. I wanted your opinion on two things, and we'll try to make it real quick. Two of the things that concern me with the recruiting class, and I know this is stupid. They're top three. Nothing should concern you, but I do have two worries, and me and Season talked about both of them. One was like the majority of the class is all out of state, which is I understand Alabama's not Georgia. But like, if I remember correctly, it's like a lot of West Coast kids, a lot like kind of where he's from, that
There's
territory.
there's been a lot of West Coast kids though. Like our last
That's
several
true.
quarterbacks have definitely come from there. Um, I will say we've typically stocked up in state on the defensive side of the ball, so I'm a little
Yeah,
little shocked at that. Um, but yeah, I don't think that concerns me. Um,
that's fair.
Again, I think, like you said, I mean, if this was Texas, Florida, or Georgia, and we missed out on every kid there, yeah, obviously that's a big deal. But uh, I don't think that concerns me. I think
I
at
mean,
this
yeah,
point,
as long as you can retain the kids,
yeah,
81% blue chips is 81% blue chips.
you know, as I was thinking about this show, you talk about I don't know anything about the teams and, wasn't able to do any research. But honestly, I mean, I think when you're talking about buying or sell a team, because when we talked about this, we said for the next 3 years, right?
Hmm.
You can look at who the backup quarterback is and who's coming in. But with the transfer portal, I think more goes into coaching right now than anything because who I recruit this year, if I don't start them next year, they're gone. So retaining them is going to be different. Um, and if I got a hole, I can go fill it next year with a junior from another school. So um, I think a coaching staff is the most important thing. Do you believe in the staff
Yeah,
right now more so than ever?
yeah, I'm with you. All right, so I'm gonna make both of my co-hosts very happy. My second team, um, and I think I'm taking a risk on this one, considering I think a lot of people are selling the stock in this team. LSU. I'm buying LSU. I understand Brian Kelly 9-4, but again, what part of this exercise I would look at the last three recruiting classes. I'd also look at the portal. I'd also look at the coach's history. And I understand Kelly's a very highly debated coach. Look, I understand that. He's probably, even Season would admit this, he's probably not the most likable guy. So that can kind of slant our, view sometimes.
You've rode Brian Kelly's shirt tail for years though, so
I have. And we're gonna do a coaches show next week and the week after. So we'll get into how much I really love him. But yeah, you're right. I have rode him. But I mean, he has a good track record. He wins a lot of ball games. He goes to playoffs. He's been to national championship games. And this was at Notre Dame. And at LSU, I understand 9-4 is not the standard there, but I do remember the first year going to the SEC championship, beating Bama. I remember the second year almost beat Bama, and then the third year, obviously, we know that was a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna buy the stock because I have the belief in Kelly to get it, 10 wins or plus yearly. And I also think he's done a phenomenal job recruiting. I think they've upped the NIL thing. I like the quarterback room coming up. So yeah, I'm buying LSU. You're selling the hell out of it, ain't you?
So if we're talking about them being a 10-win team, I would say I'm buying. Where I'm
Okay.
selling is I would love to answer this question after next season. I mean, I say that because I think if LSU does not at least make I'm not saying, look, you can't ever we talk about this all the time. For me, there's never a season that's national championship or bust. Like you just can't
Mhm.
do that. There's too many good football teams out there. But if they are not at least competing for a national championship with the team that they have, coming back next year, um, I think Brian Kelly's sold.
Yeah.
So like I said, I that's a hard one for me to answer right now. I can't buy, again, if I were having to buy stock right now, I would not buy them. No
Yeah.
offense, Caesar,
So you
but
could, you could, yeah, you could. I mean, some people hold stock, so could hold them. But all right,
yeah,
one more in the SEC. I tried not to. I'm probably gonna leave some people off, leave some teams off because I made a very stupid too long list. So
that's fine.
I've actually took some out before the show. Um, one more SEC team though. I'm selling. This is the only SEC team I'm selling. I mean, I could probably sell more, but this is the one I'm selling big time. Oklahoma. I love Venables personally. He's one of my favorite, defense coordinators, but I think he's dug himself into a hole that he just can't get out of. Last year's class, 16th ranked class, and only 50% blue chips. And if you kind of go look at your elite teams, they float anywhere between 65 to Oregon has like 90, which is ridiculous. Uh, so yeah, and I think he's botched the quarterback position. I think he's botched the OC hire after Levy left. I do love the quarterback they picked up out of the portal. I love the OC they got. I just think it's a little too late, and I think he's dug himself into a hole too deep now that I don't think those two are going to save the program next year. I think next year is his last year at Oklahoma, to be honest.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I'm selling all the Oklahoma stock. Get it out of here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've been yelling that for years, or not. I won't say years, but the last couple of seasons about Venables. Like, when does it happen? So I'm with you. I think next year's it, and be curious to see where they go.
Yeah. All right, this next program I'm gonna name. You're gonna laugh, or you're actually probably gonna roll your eyes. Season laughed. It's very obvious. It's gonna be like, oh, well, no, duh. Like, Why are we doing this? I'm gonna explain why. I'm buying Oregon. Listen, yeah, no shit, Chris. You're buying Oregon. Here, I'm gonna make this statement. This is why I'm buying Oregon. I'm buying Oregon because in the next 3 years they're winning a national championship, and that's
I
all
like
my
that.
analysis on
Yeah.
Oregon.
No, I mean, I think, I think that's, it's kind of what I talk about with LSU. If you want to talk about them as a 10-win team, sure, I'll buy them.
Yeah.
But what's the expectations of that team? And I'm with you. I think to buy, Oregon, it is national championship or bust. Not in one season, but over the next 3 seasons.
Yes.
Um, I think it's national championship or bust.
Yes. And when I was doing this exercise, I knew I was not going to do a Georgia or Texas or Ohio State because it's just obvious. But like I said with Oregon, I'm buying them because I think they're going to win. I'm buying the stock of they're going to be national championships next year, the year after, or that third year. I don't know, man. I don't see how they won't be, but well, I mean, college football is crazy. So
Yeah. We thought last year. I mean, we gave the trophy to Oregon
yeah,
at the start of the playoffs. Hell,
they're going to be a team
I
that's
think we gave the
super easy
trophy
to
to
pick every year.
I think we gave the trophy to Oregon. Hadn't you been buying Oregon though, like the last couple years?
I hope Bus is watching. He's going to love that. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about on the preview show when we do our playoff preview show. I'm going to have an Oregon shirt on. Um, but yeah, all right. So a sell I'm having. I think this one's kind of obvious to be honest with you. USC. I'm selling USC. Credit this season. I didn't know this until I watched their player personnel show they did 2 or 3 nights ago. They had, oh, I think I have in my notes, 15th recruiting class, 38% blue chips. Now, just in case nobody, I don't know, everybody should know this, but if you're coming on this video and you're not a college football fan, USC is University of Southern California. California is one of the top 4 or 5 states producing football, and you're 15th, and the year before you were 18th, and your blue chip ratio was 38% and 55%. And then on top of that, they only
What?
got, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They only got 2 kids out of the top 10 in the state of California. So for comparison, Louisiana is a top state, Georgia is a top state, Texas is a top state, and Florida is a top state of high school talent.
Mm-hmm.
UGA, Texas, Florida, and LSU averaged about 4 or 5 top players in the state out of the top 10. Those programs that USC only had 2. That's bad. That is bad. I don't like where this is going. I do like they hired a new general manager. I've read that they have really revamped the NIL thing. I've heard that was broken. I think the administration has been kind of a cluster F. I do think they're heading that right direction, like getting things cleaned up, and it's going to get better. I just think similar to Brent Venables, is he going to have time?
I mean, I think similar to Brent Venables, he's had time.
Yeah, I do too.
You talk about everything, the lack of what's coming in, but heck, that 18th recruiting class last year, look at the exodus they had in the transfer portal this year.
Yes.
You're bringing in, again, some teams you say, hey, they had a top 15 class, and that's a compliment. That's not a compliment to a USC. And when you have that much talent leave and you're only replacing it with, I don't know, man. I'm with you. Me and you talked about when all the change was happening in football, how, we were excited. Well, I mean, we talked about how we were excited to get some of the, just to get, I don't want to use the term parity, but, just to get
Mhm.
some more teams in there. And, we thought USC would be one of those teams to get back. Because I remember you saying, like, how fun would it be to have Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, Texas, USC,
Yeah.
back in this thing. And honestly, I mean, everybody's done that, um, except USC.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, arguably, if you want to put them in that conversation. So I'm
Yep.
with you. They can make all the changes they want. I don't see Lincoln Riley having. I guess the only thing. I mean, USC has. I mean, they've had to have just lowered their expectations at this point, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but they went from a powerhouse and they've been. I don't want to use the term irrelevant, but irrelevant for several years now.
Yeah.
Missed on several coaching hires. So maybe they do think they have the right guy in there, and I mean, maybe he is. I don't know, but I'm with you. I would sell him.
Yeah. All right. I only got 2 teams in the Big 12. I actually had more, but I cut some out. This one's probably going to be out of left field. And this is strictly because of the coach. I think he's a guy that has shown over his, like, I think he had 30 or 40 years he's been coaching, how he's good he is at building programs, and that's my guy Willie Fritz at Houston. I think in the next 3 years that team and that program is going to take off. I mean, obviously not in the sense of like they're going to be Ohio State, but I think they're going to be a team that's competing in the Big 12, competing for that auto bid if we still have them by then.
Yeah,
I think he's going to take that off. This is a guy that, I mean, you remember him at Tulane. He was, I mean, he did wonders there. He
yeah,
did wonders, and he did wonders in Buffalo, and he did wonders at the FCS level, on the D2 level. He's very similar to DeBoer. He was like DeBoer before DeBoer.
right.
um, he just hasn't never taken the big coaching job. So yeah, I'm really high on him. I'm buying Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think, I mean, Houston's put their name on the map enough to recruit well.
Yeah,
Obviously, being in the heart of Texas helps out. And again, I think when you start talking about that buy or sell, it's so much more to do with the coaching staff right now, because of the portals and things like that. Um, yeah, I'm with you on that.
a sell in the Big 12 is a team that I think everybody has had their stock and has had it in their back pocket forever and has constantly bought it because they have been a staple for consistency and being a really damn good program for over, gosh, 20 years. I'm 37, and I know at least the last 20 years they have been a consistently great or good program. But I think it's time to sell. I think it's time to sell Utah. I'm selling that stock. I think the offense has just gotten to the point to where it's so bad. Um, I think Kyle Whittingham is getting towards the end now that he has a head coach in waiting on staff. You don't see that often anymore these days.
Yeah,
And I think that also complicates things when you do that. I'm selling all the Utah stock because I think this may be his last year. And I'm not a fan of the whole head coach and waiting thing. I think it's stupid, but that's for another show. But yeah, I'm selling all my Utah stock before the plane crashes. I mean they went 5-7 this year, so I think the plane's starting to descend.
yeah,
But they've had years like that. They've had years where they go 5-7, then they come back up. And
yeah.
I'm saying I
No,
don't think it's going to come back up. I think it's going to keep going down.
yeah, I don't know. Utah came up more often than normal last year, I feel like, in some of our conversations. And
Yeah,
I think out of habit, I picked Utah a lot more
me
than
too.
I wanted to. But in watching those games, you're right. That offense was atrocious.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, it seems like they had the same quarterback for like 12 straight seasons. So, um, so I guess moving on from that, but um, yeah, I'm with you, man. Because I watched, again, watched more Utah football last year than normal. Um, that offense was just bad.
It was, man. And it's kind of been it hasn't been it wasn't this bad. I mean, it's never been explosive, but it's always been like efficient, good. But this year is bad, and I just,
Yeah,
like I said, when the head coach and waiting thing happened, they announced that. I mean, it wasn't this off season. I think it was during the season, to be honest with you. I don't remember, but
yeah.
when they announced it, my antenna kind of went up, and I was like, okay, he's getting close, and I don't like the direction it's headed. And yeah, I'm selling all of it. So, um,
I
I'm trying to
figured you
think.
was. I figured there would be a segment in there with Kenny Dillingham and whether you were buying him or not, because
You can't see it.
it's
Kenny
there. You just
Dillingham.
stepped
I
up.
have Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, and I scratched it out. I took it out.
All right.
Let me make it very clear. I'm buying all the Arizona State stock. I mean, we can't have
As long as Kenny stays there and doesn't get
yeah.
a bigger job.
Yeah, I'm buying as long as he's
I'm a
there.
fan of
I'm
his.
buying all the Arizona State stock. I'll be honest. I had like 20 teams. I had to narrow it down.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I had to narrow it down. I had Colorado also. I was buying them. We ain't got to discuss it, but I was buying Colorado stock.
Really?
Yeah, I had Colorado stock. I really did.
Assuming Deion's staying?
Yeah, assuming Deion's staying.
Yeah.
I know that's a risky thing. I'm making risky moves, and you know me. I'm not a risky guy.
Yeah, you're very conservative.
A little feisty. That's going on TikTok later. We got 3 more teams left. I think this one's going to shock you. I think this one here is the biggest risk of all the buys or sells. And this is a buy. I think it's the biggest risk. And I told Season earlier, and I could hear him. I could hear his voice. He's just kind of, But then when I said my logic, he was like, "Oh, kind of made sense." I'm buying Clemson. Listen to this logic. Okay, and look, it goes against everything I believe in. 23rd recruiting class ranking, 14th, 11th. I just talked about another team. I can't remember who it was. Where I'm like, no go. That's bad, not good. So you're gonna look at me right now and you're gonna go, "Well, you freaking hypocrite. What are we doing here?" Here's my logic. Me, you, and Season, we are high on them for this coming year, right?
Absolutely.
That's my logic. I think they're going to have a great year this year, and that's going to propel them back to having the 6th ranked class, the 8th ranked class, the 5th ranked class. I'm banking on this year being the thing that propels them back to not 2016 and 17, 18, whatever. I'm not saying that, but propels them back to the contenders. I can see it in your face.
No. I don't disagree with you. We talked about that. We talked about this season, and we talked about Dabo actually going out, and it wasn't much, but he grabbed a little transfer portal to close some gaps this year. That he did. Again, kind of what I talked about. He saw some things that needed fixing, and he did a little something about it. My question for you, in buying the Clemson stock, what's their ceiling? Because obviously, you buy a Houston, you're not buying Houston to go win a national championship. What the heck I do?
That is awesome.
I didn't know I could do that. Anyhow, you're not buying a Houston to go out and win a national championship. So it's what's their ceiling? With a team like Clemson, you're buying them. What's their ceiling?
Yes. Oh my God, that's going on TikTok. That is going on TikTok. I gotta remember where we at. I gotta write down what minute we're at. That's gonna be content.
Can I do that? How'd I do that? I don't know how I did that.
38 minutes. I am time stamping that. I am time stamping that. All right.
Answer the question.
Okay. What's the ceiling? This year or the next 3 years? Is that that's what you're meaning?
Yeah.
I think the next 3 years is. Oh, go ahead.
Now, I was just gonna say, what do you think is the best they can do in the next 3 years? Is it national championship, or is it we're going to win the ACC, but then still not really be competitive in the playoffs?
Okay, let me say this then. I don't think it's national championship, but I do think it's winning the ACC. I know that's not that hard.
Right.
Winning the ACC, but being competitive in the playoffs. I think it's not going to be winning the ACC and bounce the first round. I think it's win a first round game, lose the second, get a bye, win it, go to the Final Four, and lose the Final Four. I'm not buying stock that they're going back to the Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence days. I'm actually kind of concerned about the quarterback position. Me and Season talked about it earlier, and I had looked at the recruiting class. I mean, for the past 2 years, I didn't see like the quarterback of the future. So I'm curious to know where they're going with that after Buddy leaves after this year, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna go. Maybe Dabo's really gonna make a big splash and go get a portal quarterback. I don't know.
Man, that'd be insane.
Yeah,
Klubnik's
that's.
projected to Klubnik's projected to be number 1 this year. You think he holds the hype?
I think so. I mean, I really do. I'm kind of nervous. Trust me. Out of all the teams I've bought, this is the one I'm scared of the most. Like, this is the one that if I clip it and put it on TikTok and YouTube and all that, that if we get enough viewers, that somebody's going to throw it in my face,
Yeah,
and mock me. So I am very scared. But like I said, I'm feeling risky.
I like it.
I'm living on edge. All right, two more. I think this one you're going to agree. Actually, I think we talked about this team on the phone. I'm selling Miami. Um, I know they went 10-3. When we had before we had scrapped the grade show, me and you talked about how we were going to actually give Miami a C, despite winning 10 games. I think last year they went all in on the Cam Ward thing. I think they're going to have a bad year this year. If you look at Mario's, he's gone 5-7, 7-6, 10-3. I think he could have another 8-4, 7-5 type year this year coming up, and I think he's going to go back to like the hot seat kind of thing. I think that's going to set a trend, possibly of hurting the recruiting and all that. I don't know, man. And I love Beck. Look, I'm a Georgia fan. This is not sour grapes. I love Beck. I'm happy for him. I'm hoping he gets it right. But he is coming off that injury. He had a really bad year. He didn't have much help. I will give you that. He did not have much help. I don't think the defense is going to be improved this coming up year. Not enough to where it's going to like make a big difference. And I think they lost a lot on offense. They lost a lot of receivers. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of down. I don't know if it was the end of the year or what. Maybe you can play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Miami a lot, and for me, kind of going back to, and I'm gonna ask this as an open-ended question to you: Are you selling Miami, or are you selling Mario Cristobal?
Oh, that's good. I think I'm selling Mario. Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's time, doesn't it? Like
it
I
does.
don't know,
Like,
man. He was. I felt like he was going to be hot, and I was really excited when he went to Miami. And look, I mean, he's improved every season.
yeah,
And the problem is, I mean, honestly, you say he could go 8-4. I think he could go 10-3 again
yeah,
because of he's in the ACC, not because they're a good football team. I mean, that sounds bad to say. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be terrible, but I think you go 10-3 and still be a mediocre football team.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was my whole thing is, do I trust Mario Cristobal to do what it takes to, keep progressing, keep, turning this thing around. I mean, I, I will say I was impressed they went out and got back.
yeah,
I mean, I thought I was a little worried to have a huge fall off at quarterback, and again, we all have our questions on Beck, but um, uh, you're right, he didn't have any help last year, so I don't know if that was him as much as it was his receivers, but so kudos to them for that. I'm curious to see how it pays off. Um, I'm with you. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'm would be ready to just sell everything, but if I had to put money on it, I wouldn't be buying Miami for sure. Um,
yeah, yeah. Season wants me to finish with a sale. I got one more and it's a buy, but I'm gonna try to go through my notes and find a sale after we talk about this one. Um, and this hurts my heart because, I mean, you see it. Oh shit, where's my hand? There we go. You see what I wear. I'm a Georgia boy through and through, but I'm buying a guy and his team, his program that I despise. I'm just telling it straight like it is. I can't stand these nerds. I actually hated the hire when they made the hire. I called it lazy. I called it all kind of names. I'm here to eat crow on it. I'm buying the man that despises my team. He hates us. Georgia Tech, Brent Key. I'm buying them. I'm not buying them to go win a national championship. Let's be serious here. He just had their best recruiting class in the history of Georgia Tech, top 25. I think they even got a 5-star, if I can remember correctly, or 4-star offensive lineman. Uh, I love what he's done at Georgia Tech. I'm buying it. I love his OC hire. They just made a DC hire. One of the coaches at Texas, safeties coach, I think. I just love what he's done at Georgia Tech. Started off 4-4 as an interim coach and is gone. He needs to take that next step. I'm curious to see how this next year plays up. But 7-6, 7-6 back-to-back years. It needs to get to that 8 or 9 for the next step. I know I say this on Austin's probably going to roll his eyes and go, dude, you say that about every team. I don't really believe every team, but I do think Georgia Tech could be a sleeping giant. I really do. I mean, they're in Atlanta, Georgia, where high school talent is just oozes. Yeah, I'm buying him, man. I love what he's done, and I love the trajectory. I can't even talk. Finish that word for me.
The trajectory
of
the program.
Boom, that's teamwork.
Yes, sir. I agree with you, man. Georgia Tech the last couple of years, I mean, you're right. We've talked about this. Their record has not shown how good they could be. They've won some really good football games and lost some really dumb football games. So I don't know if that's a preparation issue or just a consistency issue, but they can get that part fixed. I've watched a more exciting game than the Georgia Tech game this season. I mean that was just an awesome game, and
speak for yourself.
Yeah, I will agree on the bye, and I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that Georgia Tech beats Georgia once in the next 3 years.
I wonder if I do the middle finger emoji, would it pop up on the screen?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'm with you. Look, it's happened. It almost happened 2 years in a row now. I almost shot you a bird. 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
They almost beat us this year. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think I don't I don't know that that's that bold, to be honest with you. It's gonna happen at some point. Yeah, I'm with you there. I love Georgia Tech. All right, season wanted me to end on a sale. I'm gonna shoot off the hip on this one. My mind just went blank. That's going on TikTok too. I am selling. Okay. Man, I got a really wild one that I kind of want to do, but I don't know if it's a little too wild.
Sell it.
F it. Season's going to disagree with this one. Ooh, I'm selling Tennessee.
I freaking love it.
I'm selling Tennessee. I think, and Season's going to hate this. Season's really high on Tennessee this year. And I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with Season. I mean, look, Season is super knowledgeable about the game of football. Dude was a personnel guy for an SEC team, and I'm just a guy that works a 9 to 5. So, but I'm selling Tennessee because I think Heupel has reached his ceiling. And he's a phenomenal coach. When we do our coaches ranking, he is going to be in my top 25, probably top 15 if I'm just thinking right now. I think he's phenomenal. What he's gotten Tennessee out of that decade of dysfunctional that they went through for 10 years. He's got them to the point where they're winning 9, 10 games consistently. The offense is fun. It's scoring a lot of points. It was a little rough this year, but they're finding a way to win. They're recruiting really good. I know I'm kind of talking like I should buy them, but I just think they kind of hit the ceiling. I think this is it. I don't think it's going to go any further. I don't think they're going to be a national championship program where they're at right now. I think they've kind of hit it. And I could see a scenario where Heupel stays around longer because, I mean, when you win in 9, 10 games in the SEC, you're going to have some job security. But I could see a point where it just kind of in the next 3 years, maybe even 3 years is a little too quick. But, you know, I don't know, man. I think they've hit their ceiling. I think Tennessee fans right now would riot and cuss us and throw eggs at our house right now, me saying that. But I think if the next 3 years is like, you know, barely missing the playoffs or getting ass whooped in the first round, I think by year 3 we could see some Vol fans be like, hey, thank you for what you did. You got us out of the decade of dysfunction. You've done wonderful things here. Heupel has done wonderful things. But we want to we're gonna push you like Mark Richt at Georgia, and we're gonna go take that next step. So
Yeah,
a little hot take.
no, I don't disagree with you. I think Tennessee needed Josh Heupel.
Mm-hmm.
They had to have somebody come and do something. I mean, they're. I mean, it just. I mean, it's kind of what I think about USC. Had just become a program that was non-existent, you know, and they had a lot more internal issues probably than USC does. Well, unless there's more than we know about. USC is pretty private with how they release a lot of the information. So, anyhow, I'm with you. I think Josh Heupel's done a great job to get them where they are. I think he took them from a bottom feeder SEC team to, you know, like an Ole Miss style SEC team that's just gonna, you know, I can beat some really good football teams and maybe mess up somebody else's season, but I'm not gonna go contend for a national championship. And I mean, honestly, I mean Tennessee, that's their expectations.
Yeah.
You know, I think I don't know. I always think it's sad when, you know, you think of a football team and like. You know, you think about Tennessee and when the last time they were great, and it's like, you know, the Peyton Manning, and you know he's already retired from the NFL.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still think their expectations is to get back competing, you know, for a top spot. I don't think Heupel's that guy.
Yeah. We're just full of hot takes.
I think we have Tennessee overhyped for this season.
Interesting. Man, I can't wait till we do our season previews.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I watched the only game I really watched Tennessee, like sat down and watched it play by play was the Bama game.
Yeah.
And I know everybody, you know, I could get some hate because they beat us, but that was the ugliest football game I have watched since I went and watched my high school football team play in high school when they were really bad. Like, I mean, that's just what it felt like. It was sloppy. It was undisciplined. It just,
It set
I
offensive football back 10 years.
mhm.
From two programs that are supposed to be really flashy on offense.
Yeah. So, again, kudos to what Josh Heupel's done. You're right. He dug them out of the trenches.
Yeah. He's a good coach.
And I think he's a great coach. I just don't know that he's, you know, he's not that guy to take them, you know, to the top. So again, I think you know, when you're talking about ceilings, you know, what's Tennessee's ceiling? Is their ceiling a national championship? And if so, then I mean, you got to sell them. But you know, I think at 10 wins a season, maybe. I mean, maybe for the next couple years. I don't know. You know, obviously having to play Georgia every season. You know, playing. I'm buying Florida to continue to progress and get better. I could see them passing, you know, surpassing Tennessee and leaving them, you know, leaving them behind, and you know, all of a sudden now they're back third in the East. Is that okay? Are they okay with being there?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
Well,
I
wait,
love that.
I said the East. My bad. There is no East anymore, but you know what I meant.
I know what you meant. I should have said something, but I was just like,
Yeah, I wasn't even.
that's another TikTok moment.
Yeah,
Go follow us on TikTok. All right. So, man, great show. We got right under an hour. So I just want to say to the teams that I sold: USC, Oklahoma, Utah, Miami, Tennessee. With the way my year has gone, congrats. You're probably going to go to the playoffs. One of y'all going to win the national championship, and all of y'all are probably going to have the best season in your program's history after I've done that, and will come on here and mock me. So thank y'all for joining us tonight. We'll catch y'all next Thursday for an awesome top 25 through 16 coaches ranking. And then the next show after that will be 1 through 15 or 15 through 1. I am looking forward to that. I actually started prepping in a little sneak peek. I'm not going to give away anything, but we'll talk about this in the morning on the phone. I have like 8 guys slotted that I'm trying to decide 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Wonder who he's got number 1, guys. Stay tuned.
I don't know.
Stay tuned for the mystery.
Yeah. Stay tuned to see who's number 1. All right. Thank y'all, everybody. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
See ya.